Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BSV TV. I'm your host Satoshi, and on this show we'll be defending the one and only, truly genuine Bitcoin. The Bitcoin that Satoshi Nakamoto designed in his white paper as a peer-to-peer electronic cash system for the world. Let's get the disclaimers out of the way. So all the statements that you hear on this show are opinion and must only ever be taken as opinion. They are never to be taken as any form of advice, family, financial, sexual or otherwise. And on that note, let's sit back, relax, have some fun and enjoy the show. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and set your own fee on Streamanity.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wasn't asked why I'm convinced. Craig is Satoshi. I posted on Reddit. He signed in my presence using the private key from block number one, the very first mined Bitcoin block on a computer that I'm convinced had not been tampered with, on software I'm convinced that had not been tampered with, a message of my choosing.
At Enchain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts, basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
Is the market that effectively BSV is going for, is that global e-commerce, which is currently valued at $29 trillion?
No, that's too small.
Buy and sell Bitcoin instantly at bsvgravity.com. And you can now book and pay for your winter holiday at skibsv.com. Good afternoon, everybody. It looks like we are live and we are on fire. Apologies for yesterday's show. I'm still learning about RAM in computers. It looked like I had downloaded Snap Camera that was eating up loads of memory on my desktop, which then eventually meant that it failed as it was streaming on Twitch TV. And then I've had to delete some other programs that were on startup. So yeah, bit of a learning curve for me, that one. So again, for any newbies, the reason we broadcast on Twitch is because YouTube were already taken down 2 of my channels. Then they were preventing me from editing my shows, which they are still doing. Now I can't even edit an upload. You know, so I mean, I'm getting like 50 to 70 views, you know, and they've actually got somebody assigned to my channel. You know, don't want anybody hearing about genuine Bitcoin, do they? Can't have that. Dear, oh dear. So anyway, what we do is we broadcast live, upload the trailer onto YouTube, and then the full episode up on Streamanity, where you can set your own fee according to how you judge the quality. Right, so start off with the images. So actually, we'll look at my YouTube channel first, just so you can so I can check the figures of this machine. So if we're going on here, and then we go to YouTube Studio, then it will show us the viewing numbers. Here we go. Going to content. So we got these. So these are premieres set for 7 days. But look at this. So I mean, views like into the hundreds, 175 on that one. I think that was the CSW one. Yeah. Any episode that seems to mention CSW, like this one as well. Look at this, 231. And that was that was titled CSW's court case continues. I think that might be one of my most popular videos. Oh no, 302. What's that? Again, CSW richest person in the world, 312 views. So yeah, the best performing video ever, I think. Even compared to the ones that have been up at the very beginning. Let's just go back to my old videos. Let's see what we... Oh, quite a few on this channel. Just going to go back to the... see if I can find my first videos. See, look, 40, 40, 27, 30, or 151, whichever one that was. Again, it's got CSW in it. It seemed like CSW is like the moneymaker. You know, as soon as I put CSW in the title, suddenly number go up. You know, I guess it's probably all these shitcoiners tuning. Oh, look, see, look, the Gavin Andresen one, 277, 253 on Samsung. Again, so I think they're basically shitcoiners tuning in, going, oh, what's that? You know, got to protect my investment. But CSW seems to be the clincher. So that definitely, the 359 is the 359 is the most successful video so far. That was actually titled "It's a Scam, Stop Buying This." Wow, 359. So maybe it's warnings and scams then. Warning, scams, and CSW. Oh, it's 370 in that one. Where was that gone again? Yeah, all right. So that was initially my intro video, but that's 359. Ah, JPAP's in the house. Nice one. Hello from Canada. Thanks for popping in. So on my YouTube channel, which we are looking at here, if we go to my channel, you can set your channel up. So you have like an introductory video, which this one is, which is one that I just recently made. So if you go to, you can choose to have one of your videos as a customized video. So when I say like customized channel, it will show you the introduction video to your channel. Here we go, look, channel trailer for people who haven't subscribed. So in other words, that's the first video that they'll see. And you can view your channel, see what it will look like. And here it is with this first video.
I like Bitcoin the way it is.
There we go. So I'm thinking about transitioning from, well, I mean, eventually it's going to have to happen anyway. I'm going to transition from YouTube over to Streamality. And obviously, even though at the moment I do enjoy the intros with all the little snippets that I'm picking up, I was thinking that in order to get people onto Streamality, like maybe I can have like one good, solid intro that basically explains everything in terms of kind of like what's happened in brief, how people buy Bitcoin and the wallets they can use, like Handcash, Simply Cash, RelayX, CentB, things like that. Hey, Jim Soccer in the house as well. Said, what do we think is coming? Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. But I'm going to try and wing. I'm going to try and wing this introduction to see what I can come up with, because I will maybe make a video from this introduction and use this as my introduction video. So there'll be little bits of explanations in between each clip. So let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. So this picture kind of like tells us all we need to know. But it doesn't understand the paradox of the centralized starting point, which is the fundamental understanding that everybody needs. Everybody needs. So maybe that's something that I will work on right now. But what we can do from here, I mean, the Michael Saylor video seems to be the best one to use at the moment, because I mean, he does Michael Saylor does a really good explanation of what Bitcoin is, big block Bitcoin. So what I might do then is, in fact, I could probably start with a little intro on that. Medium.com. We'll just scroll down to the bottom. Show more. It should load up. Here we are. Great little image, that one, of what true decentralization is, because so many people are just massively confused. They have no clue what decentralization really means. Here we go. I think I've got to go down 4 times. Oh, there we go. There we go. The paradox of the centralized starting point. This is literally like the keystone. This is so important. This is literally the keystone to Bitcoin, understanding this fundamental point. So maybe I could mention that and then straight afterwards go on why Satoshi Nakamoto, obviously Japan being the other side of the world, you know, technologically advanced, highly developed, politically neutral, large population, language barrier, enabling him to stay hidden for 10 years. So that's what solves the paradox of the centralized starting point, as in kind of like growing this as a commodity without that central point of authority, control, or influence. It's absolutely key to the network being a commodity, because it grew without any influence. It just simply grew organically, which is what makes the network a commodity. And that's what's so important. Let's try my coffee there. So after I've explained that, maybe then I can go into this and let Michael Saylor do his bit. So yeah, Michael Saylor, or take the floor, Michael Saylor, as we say. This is a great video. I'll come up with some one-liners as well sooner or later.
I like Bitcoin the way it is. In fact, I love Bitcoin the way it is. And the way it's currently constructed, it is possible to put all $250 trillion of monetary energy in big blocks of encrypted energy on the blockchain. Maybe the Bitcoin will be 1 million. You can probably calculate $10 million of Bitcoin or something. Big blocks, $100 million chunks on the blockchain. It'll store all the monetary energy in the world, and it should store it for the next 100 years without losing any of it. If Bitcoin's going to fail, it's not going to fail due to lack of functionality or lack of speed or lack of scalability. In my opinion, if Bitcoin is going to fail, it's going to fail because it loses trust and security. We have to protect the network integrity at all costs.
Indeed we do, Michael. Indeed we do. So maybe after I've played that, I could bring up an image of SegWit. Now this is quite interesting because we're going to touch on this actually. Elon Musk has, last time I looked, had changed his profile picture and hinted about Bitcoin forks. And I've just been reading it actually. I might read through it, actually all of it. It's quite a long read, so when we get to it, we'll just read it all. But yeah, I could mention SegWit now because this is really interesting. The section on forks, when they say like hard forks, this is where it's really important to understand the difference between a technical hard fork and a fundamental hard fork. So, you know, those who obviously want to mislead Bitcoiners, like Blockstream obviously do, they described SegWit as a soft fork. You know, it was like they say like, you know, a software upgrade. But in terms of its protocol, and its fundamental change, it was absolutely a hard fork. It completely and utterly changed Bitcoin, theoretically and philosophically, and legally. So it was absolutely a hard fork. But yeah, they span it as a technical hard fork because people don't understand the fundamentals. So this is where the fork came from, due to SegWit. So the chain split on the 1st of August 2017, and then by the 24th of August 2017, they'd already implemented SegWit, broken the chain of signatures, taking it completely under their control. So yeah, maybe after I talk about SegWit, which is absolutely fundamental, we will then let Peter McCormack take the floor and explain what he knows about Bitcoin. Take the floor, Peter McCormack. Here we go.
Bitcoin is so different now from when Satoshi was here. It's a completely different project. It doesn't matter who Satoshi is anymore. Even if Satoshi came back, I don't think he would just be immediately welcomed as having this God-given right to decide what happens with Bitcoin. I think he would have to earn his right back into the project. Bitcoin is built based on consensus now.
See, and I literally cannot help myself commenting on that because it's so stupid. Are you sure about that, Pete? So I might explain why he doesn't know what he's talking about and why what he's just said is an absolute load of bollocks. Oh, Bitcoin is based on consensus now. What, like it wasn't before? You absolute moron. Like, literally absolute moron. So, yeah, the next one, I mean, Samson Mao follows on greatly after that. Just letting him explain that Bitcoin is completely controlled by Blockstream. Take the floor, Samson Mao.
Bitcoin was created by the central bankers that enslave you today. It is their scapegoat.
How do you answer those, Max and Stacey?
I think the evidence is clear that they do not control it. There's 10 years, almost 11 years now of track record.
Yeah, Blockstream controls it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who does?
Blockstream.
Oh,
all right.
I was looking at you when I said that.
Sure you were, Stacey. I'm sure you were. So after they controlled it, they're the ones who have effed it up. Which leads on to situations like this, which Andreas Antonopoulos is going to explain for us. This is exactly what Blockstream have done. Take the floor, Andreas.
Anonymous asks, I transferred my Bitcoin with too low a fee, and it's been unconfirmed for 10 days. What should I do? The idea that you did a transaction and that transaction had insufficient fee tells me that you do not have a wallet that allows you to increase the fee after a transaction has been broadcast. Wallets that allow you to do that support one of two technologies. One is called replace by fee, which allows you to broadcast a second transaction with increased fee. And the other one is a technology called child pays for parent, which allows you to make another transaction with the change, or even allows the merchant or recipient to make another transaction with the payment amount that is a child transaction that has more fee, and that child fee is enough to pay for the parent fee, causing both the child and the parent to be confirmed simultaneously. All of this is stuff that you can do with a more sophisticated wallet, but it can be confusing, especially if your wallet is not sophisticated. I would say the first transaction you need to make is to a better wallet.
Actually, I've just thought this is quite interesting. Like, honestly, so one of two technologies, as Andreas would say. The first one is replaced by fee, and the other one is child pays for parent. Now, excuse me for being a little bit slow here, but is Lightning Network mentioned in the white paper? Is SegWit mentioned in the light paper? Is replaced by fee mentioned in the white paper? Is child pays for parent mentioned in the white paper? Like, that's literally all you need to know. You know, that's the four technologies. It's like, all right, so Blockstream control it, and now we're talking about these things that just sound like absolute bullshit. Are they in the white paper? Lightning Network? No. SegWit? No. Replaced by fee? No. Child pays for parent? No. Babysitting pays for babysitter? God. So that's actually what I'm going to mention. Like, are these technologies in the white paper? No, because Satoshi didn't design them and didn't put them there because it's not part of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't need it. Jeepers, honestly, it's just so, you know, I literally have to sort of like turn my rage into laughter and just rip the piss out of it because it just infuriates me, you know. But again, I suppose in a way, if this hadn't happened, you know, we wouldn't be in the position that we're in. In actual fact, I mean, to be honest with you, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, like Craig being the way he is means that you have to be relatively intelligent to see that what he is saying is absolutely correct. And you can see past, you know, his social etiquette faux pas, if that's what you want to call it, whatever, because you're intelligent and you understand that he is Asperger's. You know, so it's just like, well, because he's Asperger's, you don't listen to how he says it. You listen to what he says. And if what he says makes sense, you're like, oh, that does make sense. That means you're intelligent. So in a way, him being the way that he's being has brought literally the cream, you know, of the crop to the top, as it were. And now pretty much all the intelligent people are here, you know, and yeah, good people as well. And as Craig had actually said, all the criminals that were ever going to come into Bitcoin are already here. All of them. Every single one. Every single criminal that's got criminal intentions is already in Bitcoin. You know, and they've come in here like the world's greatest honey trap, not having a clue, not understanding the technology, thinking they can get away with all their shit, where in actual fact there is now an immutable evidence trail leading right to them. It's pretty funny when you think about that, to be honest. So maybe now is the time, now that all the intelligent people are already here, it's now maybe time to sort of like wind things down a bit and go, actually, look, because we've learned all about, you know, block size, transaction fees, block rewards, transaction processing, instant confirmation, SHA-256, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now it's basically going to be up to us to explain this to all the newbies who are literally going to come flooding into Bitcoin. They don't need to know all this stuff. All they need to know is how to use it. We are effectively like the driving instructors. We have learned to drive. We have learned the mechanics of the engine. We know how a car works. It's now up to us to tell all these newbies how they use it, how you transact it. You know, I mean, luckily Handcash has taken away the 12-word secret key, so don't need that anymore. But still, people need to understand that it's, you know, the commodity that Bitcoin is data sovereignty. And data sovereignty is literally the most valuable thing in the world. So people really need to view it like that. It's like, oh, what's this you've got in your wallet? Well, you have now got commoditized data sovereignty in your wallet. I had a friend the other day who told me that they'd lost their... they had to get a new phone, and yeah, the Bitcoin was on it. Didn't have their secret key, and I was just like me. Obviously, I'm paranoid. About keeping things safe because But the reason I'm paranoid about keeping things safe is because I understand how valuable this thing is. You know, whereas these other people, like literally, magic internet money. You know, it's computer nerd money, whatever. Oh, it's not real money. Well, it's not money, it's a commodity, but it's commoditized data sovereignty, which means it's going to be the most valuable thing in the world. You know, so maybe if you explain to a newbie something like that, maybe then it's just, oh, right, well, I need to pay attention now then. Yeah, I'm not just going to simply dismiss it and laugh it off like a speculative piece of shit, you know, a digital dog shit, which is what all these shitcoiners think it is. Yeah, so that would probably be a good way of doing it. Yeah, describing what it is, and then I could play this clip by Chamath Palihapitiya, who's basically saying that it's it's schmuck insurance and a confidence game, you know, a con game. I mean, this is unbelievable. But have a listen to this. Here we go.
This is a thing that either goes to roughly the value of gold. And at the time, it was about $100 a coin. And so there's very little downside. There's all this asymmetric upside. I said, take 1% of your net worth and buy this schmuck insurance. This is now a confidence game, right? There is no real utility in this.
You just called it a confidence game, which is a con game.
And we've done okay.
It's a con
the economy's
game.
built.
She's like, look, you just called it a confidence game. It's a con game. And he's like, look, yeah, it's schmuck insurance. There's no utility in this thing. You know, I mean, it's really quite shocking. But this shows you, utility is where the value is. You know, absolutely, that's where the value is. You know, I gave the example the other day of this African country where they were trading mobile phone minutes, because mobile phone minutes actually acted as a store of value because you bought the minute and the minute didn't change. So that was your constant. So it's a really, really quite clever form of medium of exchange that didn't change. And there was something else. It might have been this morning actually. CSW mentioned King Croesus. That was actually quite interesting. I sent people the links out for that. So he was apparently the wealthiest, the wealthiest person in history. There's an expression that goes, as rich as King Croesus. So we'll find that clip. We'll find that clip in a minute. So I think that's kind of like basically all the BTC is taken care of. Yeah. Do we need to show them these pictures? Don't really think so. I think we're kind of like up to date with all of that. So let's just check out Elon Musk. I mean, this is here we go. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. There we go. Oh, has he changed it? Oh no! Look at this. Look at this. Whoa! Check it out. Look at that. What's this? Bitcoin Explained. He posted this 7 hours ago. We all have a crypto friend who sounds like this guy. But look at these posts here. So he said, heard a rumor some crypto coin was pegging the dollar. Or did they say pegged to the dollar? Something like that. I want to start a flame in your heart. Oh, don't know what that's all about. But what's this? Heard a rumor crypto coin was pegging the dollar. I mean, and look at what he's written here. He's written metafork. Metafork. I mean, we've got metanet. So what is he? Is he implying something here? So, I mean, let's just go to somebody had actually pointed out. It was a crypto rebel. Quite a few people have pointed this out actually. And let's just go to my chat groups here. And here we go. Somebody getting famous there. There we go. As rich as Croesus. This was the. We can look at this while I'm here. No time like the present. So CSW had said here, to all of those individuals who look at the markets right now and believe that everything will remain as it is, I would point you to read the story told by Solon of King Croesus, who was said to be the happiest man. He only came to understand happiness as Solon had instructed him on when he was facing the sentence of death. Those in cryptocurrency space running scams such as BTC would be wise to read the story. However, like Croesus, it is unlikely until it is too late. Again, we know that CSW loves all his cryptic messages. But there was a conclusion to that story, and I found it here. Let's see what it was. This was it. See if I can bring that up. So in the story here of King Croesus, it actually said the teaching is no man is truly blessed until he dies well. So in other words, led a good life and dies happy. However, what they didn't know back then is that happiness is stored in the hippocampus. But that's kind of like what the story was. No man is truly blessed until he dies well. Dies a happy life. So interesting. I would definitely recommend looking at that. I just typed in the story of Croesus. It was Greek stuff. In fact, there was a crikey. They had mentioned a chap in the story called Herostratus, something like that. And anyway, this guy, Herostratus, basically just wanted to be famous by any means necessary, which is really quite interesting. And so basically he burnt down back then a building that was meant to be the most beautiful building in the world, just purely to make him famous. So I mean, if there isn't like a story or a moral or a riddle in that one, and ironically, they scrubbed all of his they scrubbed his names from the history books, but there was a historian that still wrote about it, so he didn't actually be forgotten. He wasn't actually forgotten, and he is still remembered to this day. But I was just like, wow, there was somebody back in the day, you know, an old story, the first person of his kind that represents human ego, that literally wanted to be famous at any cost and was willing to do anything to be, well, I suppose that would be notorious, wouldn't it really, for something like that? But all these stories like this of human ego go back centuries, because King Croesus was 535 BC, something like that, you know, so well over 2,500 years ago. So yeah. But I digress. Where was this? Just trying to find. I would look at Crypto Rebels post. Here we go. Crypto Rebel. That's what we're after. So it was regarding the Elon Musk post. There we go. Yeah, check it out. This is actually a really good post here. Got the latest CNN's news from Slack, and someone posted about Elon Twitter fork photo from Mike Hearn's 2015 article and Meta fork, referencing Elon's Twitter bio. CSW responded, planets could be aligning. Ooh, let's see this then. What's this? So a Meta fork, blah blah blah. Oh, so I don't know if actually CSW has responded directly, but yeah, indirectly in the MetaNet ICU Slack, where he said Wednesday is a righteous day. It means wooden day. It is the day of mercy. Oh. Mercurius, one of the 12 die consonants with the ancient Roman Parthenon. He represents financial gain, commerce, eloquence, messages, communication, and more. Wednesday is a good day. Wednesday 24th, 2021 has immense significance. As a theologian, I love to align days, and this one has a resounding significance. A day in 2009 did as well. Maybe he's talking about the starting of the network, maybe 3rd of January 2009. Though nobody has stated the meaning. I don't do this. It happens despite my trying to do otherwise. Let's start with the 3rd, as I just mentioned, 3rd of January. Time, the day of time. Genesis is the day represented by the day of time. Read up on Saturn. Good grief. He knows everything. Star signs, the lot. So, let's just go back to the link on. Here we go. This is the article, or Mike Hearn's article, and that's the image. So, both CSW and Elon Musk are extremely highly functioning individuals, as in, like, they've pretty much got, you know, photographic memories. They can remember everything. They're absolutely phenomenal memories. So when you have a memory, you just literally remember everything and you can link it all together. That's basically how he was able to build, you know, and make such fantastic cars. This is how Warren Buffett became the Oracle of Omaha, because he could remember the accounts of all the companies that he looked at. So he could basically remember the links in the chain. You know, if one company did something, he would then recognize the knock-on effects that it would have in other companies. And that's how he was able to make his choices on investing, because he understood, he remembered all the companies. So even now, he still doesn't have a computer in his office. He literally just does, everything is like old school, you know, from like the newspaper and stuff. Doesn't use computers at all, which is a bit crazy. But I mean, you know, that's what he's done all his life, and he doesn't see the point in changing. But these days, I think it's actually really important to keep up to date with technology, because you can get really far behind if you don't. So on contentious fork. So does this mean that Elon has read this? Is he looking into it? I mean, he needs to. Whereas Michael Saylor seems to be rather belligerent in his opinion. You know, Elon Musk is kind of like the second person. He wasn't like the leader like Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor was kind of like the first I suppose, institutional investor, and he's basically trying to protect his investment. But I mean, Elon Musk, I mean, what, $1 billion? It's not even really a percentage. It's not even 1% of his overall wealth, is it really? You know, it's just, and he's just said, oh, you know, in hindsight, it was inevitable, really. So would you not be slightly curious as to what other people are saying about Bitcoin? You know, I would be. Well, I was, obviously, you know, which is why we ended up where we are and making sense of it all. And it's really not hard. Yeah, as well as obviously being a distributed network, you need those 5 pillars of decentralization, which again, I have to put in the intro. So that is accountability, which is the chain of signatures, locked protocols so anyone and everyone can build, infinite scale, competition, and a fixed supply. So it's only 5 things. There's really not a lot, you know, to figure it out, really. But yeah, so I mean, we're not going to read this all because it's like a 10-minute row. Is it worth it? I'll be going for 35 minutes. An 11-minute read. All right. Well, let's just see what it's like then. So the long hot summer of 2015 has revealed something surprising about the Bitcoin community. Many people have strange and technically unsupportable ideas about how the blockchain algorithm actually works. This has culminated in Michael Marquardt, who admins Bitcoin.org and various discussion forums, banning all discussion of Bitcoin XT and threatening to delete services that use it from the official Bitcoin website. His rationale is that Bitcoin XT is an altcoin because it is intended to trigger a hard fork. On the other hand, soft forks are totally okay. So again, like a hard fork can just simply be a protocol upgrade. Like Genesis was a hard fork. But it's not a fundamental fork. It's not a fundamental split. So I guess that's what this article is going on about. You know, they don't understand that this is why I say it's really important to understand the fundamentals. So you can have like technical understanding, but you also need a fundamental understanding to recognize what is a technical hard fork and what's a fundamental hard fork. Because SegWit should never have been allowed, ever. Yeah, it's ridiculous, all the shit they come out with. This position doesn't make any technical sense. And in this article, I will explain why not. Why not? We'll just explain why, really. Again, so this means that the article might be a little bit confusing because he'll be using like positive and negative language. But let's see how it goes. Soft and hard forks. You can't be around Bitcoin forums too long without seeing these two terms. It's become clear from my chats with random enthusiasts that an awful lot of Bitcoiners have been left behind with the terminology. Again and again, I come across people who don't understand what these words mean, but think they do. That's not surprising. The idea of a soft fork is relatively recent and appears to have emerged out of IRC discussions rather than BIP. Again, I mean, I'm not too sure what that is, but I know BIP is, they have that in SimplyCash. If you want to retrieve your coins, the chap who runs it said it was a BIP, so I'll have to find out what that is. Or other kind of precise standards document. It doesn't help that even developers routinely define the term wrongly. Oh dear, well that's going to cause massive confusion that the political elite can take advantage of. A hard fork is when the rules of the Bitcoin protocol change such that old nodes refuse to accept blocks created by newer nodes. As rule, violating blocks are ignored. Miners will produce blocks building on the last block they saw that followed their rule set. Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. So they'll go into the next block rather than... they're basically talking about a chain split here. A soft fork is when the rules of the Bitcoin protocol change so that the old nodes don't realize the rules are different and continue to accept blocks created by the newer nodes that follow the changed rule set. Miners may build on top of blocks that they didn't fully understand or validate. I mean, again, this is where, again, Blockstream's genius political narrative, because they were like, oh, don't change, keep the block size as it is. second layer solution. So the second layer solution is absolute bollocks. But they're building that second layer solution and persuaded people to follow them and most of the miners to follow them because they didn't require any changes. So, I mean, it's really sly how they did it. Like sleight of hand. They were, don't change, stick with us, you keep it as it is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Second layer solutions, scaling and all that. It's... Again, I mean, this is how I was sure that it was literally, I mean, the politics behind this was professional, like really professional. But I mean, I've seen it before, having studied, psychology, sociology, communication studies, all that kind of stuff. You can see this kind of, stuff a mile off. But for the average Joe who maybe hasn't studied, all that kind of stuff, they just simply go along with what they're told. I remember I used to work for a company that did door-to-door sales, and they would always love these areas of what you would call like with vulnerable people, because they would just simply listen to what you said on the door. They, this person seems to know what they're talking about. I'll just simply go along with them. It was easy to make sales. Whereas if you go around a really affluent area and try and persuade them to sign on the dotted line after you've given them like a 2-minute pitch, they were always just like, I appreciate the information, but I want to have a look at it and study it and think about it before I make the decision. That's what intelligent people do. So I guess the majority of people in Bitcoin are the other ones that aren't all that intelligent. But then, you've now got the intelligent people in genuine Bitcoin, which is BSV. So it's really going to be our responsibility to explain what's happened to all the newbies that come in. Because, I mean, there are going to be so many scammers out there. So many. This is frequently described as a backward accountability by various Bitcoin core developers, but that's not correct and probably contributes to the confusion. The definition of backwards compatibility is that new software accepts data or code produced by or for old software. When Windows 10 runs apps written for Windows XP, that's backward compatibility. Both fork types require backward compatibility because otherwise new nodes would be unable to verify the blockchain from scratch. Fair enough. The correct term is actually forwards compatibility. This is when old software continues to accept data code produced by the new software. When you save a document in Word 2013 and it can still be opened by Word 2011, that's forward compatibility. It's worth noting that Satoshi did not use the phrase hard fork. Presumably, the notion that any other kind of fork might exist didn't occur to him. The idea of a soft fork wasn't around back then, and rightly so, as the concept itself is deeply flawed. In a correctly functioning Bitcoin network, no soft fork would ever happen. Oh, well, now they've been told. That may seem like a bold claim, so let's analyze it closer. Why are soft forks bad? It may appear that allowing old software to continue processing data without needing to be upgraded is a no-brainer. Why would you not want this? And sure enough, software engineers like backwards and forwards compatibility a lot. If you can make a new version of your app that's interoperable with old versions, that's usually a win. Forwards compatibility is rarer than backwards compatibility. The reason is that if you add some new feature to your file format or protocols, then old software won't be able to understand it. Sometimes you can make the new feature optional. It's okay if old software ignores it. This is called a graceful degradation, and it's a popular technique, especially on the web, where people want to make web pages that work in old browsers while still using new features. Given that backwards and forwards compatibility are normally desirable things in software engineering, why is Bitcoin different? The reason is simple. Let's hope so. Forwards compatibility defeats the entire purpose of running a node. It's easy to see why XT/Core downloaded and processed every block from Genesis day onwards, because by doing this, they are auditing the blockchain. They add up every number, they check every signature. By the time the audit is finished, you can be sure that the ledger you're using reflects application of the rules written into the software. This is a key part of Bitcoin's decentralization. By using your own copy of the ledger that was calculated by your own computer and then only accepting payments that are valid according to that ledger, you reinforce key economic policies like the inflation formula and the absence of a double spending. The idea is simple. Nobody, not even a miner with a majority hash power, can trick you into accepting money that violated these rules. Or can they? And here's the problem with soft forks. In a soft fork, a protocol change is carefully constructed to essentially trick old nodes into believing that something is valid when it actually might not be. So I guess he's talking here about implementations such as replaced by fee and child pays for parent and all this crap. That's what it sounds like. Here's an analogy. Imagine a big company with a team of auditors and a team of traders. The traders want to make a new type of trade that the firm currently disallows. The auditors check what the traders are doing to enforce company policies. Changing the policies can be slow work. But one day a trader has a brainwave. Hey guys, he says, I've had an idea. I'm going to submit some trades for derivatives, but I'm going to write it down on the paperwork as buying land. When you see that, just mentally replace land with derivatives and carry on as normal. The auditors won't find out. The auditors are people and services that are running Bitcoin full nodes. The traders are people who want to change the rules. Whether their rule change is a good idea or not isn't relevant here. What matters is how they're doing it. The auditors are now cross-checking every transaction, but their calculations can arrive at the wrong answer because they don't understand the true nature of the transactions they're verifying. How does this work technically? We can look at how a Bitcoin feature called P2 sig hash? I don't know. Was introduced to C. P2SH is a useful feature that makes multi-signature easier to use, but on the blockchain it looks odd. Again, I wouldn't be able to recognize what looks odd and what doesn't look odd. This is a Bitcoin script. In English it says anyone who knows the password can spend this money. The problem with making coins like this is it's insecure. There's no signature, so the moment you broadcast a transaction that provides the password, anyone else in the Bitcoin network can make their own transaction that spends the output as well. Because the password is now public, it ends up being a pure race to see whose transaction propagates to miners first. P2SH works because the Bitcoin protocol was changed to include a new rule. When you see an output script for the above form, don't actually treat it as a script at all. Instead, apply special processing to it. The password is in fact the real script, so run that. So P2SH is not insecure, don't worry, but why use this roundabout and strange approach? You guessed it, soft forking is to blame. This construct is designed to always be considered valid by old nodes that don't understand the P2SH rule. If presented with a transaction that spends this coin under the classical Bitcoin rules, but which doesn't satisfy the new P2SH rule, they will fail to audit it correctly and calculate an incorrect ledger. But preventing that from happening is the whole reason you're running a full node in the first place. Oops. So what happens in a hard fork? Let's imagine P2SH was introduced in a different way via a hard fork. The script would instead look something like this. Again, I wouldn't have a clue what I'm looking at there. Note the final op run. This is an opcode that doesn't exist in the current Bitcoin instruction set. Defined properly, the script would look to old nodes like this. I can't really tell the difference. It looks the same. And when they reach the op bit, they'd stop and reject the transaction plus block. Because they'd realized they didn't know what the transaction meant. I should remark at this point that there actually was a counter proposal to the current P2SH back then, which was called op eval, and the discussions about the approach was better were quite dramatic. I don't recall the details of that debate and don't want to reopen it here. This is just for illustration. Okay, so your node has rejected a block because it didn't understand it. Now what? In our imaginary firm, the auditors would call the CEO, you, and ask for a decision. You're the decider. And so it is with Bitcoin. You'll be alerted in some way like SMS or email if you're configured that, and you get to decide what to do. You could, 1, read about the rule change and decide that you're okay with it, upgrade and continue. 2, read about the rule change and decide you're not okay with it. More on this in a second. Or 3, explicitly decide to trust any spend of the scripts you don't understand. You might do this if uptime on your node is more important to you than correct audit results. The last option is risky, but hey, check it out. You just got the soft forking behavior back. The difference is you explicitly requested it and your choice doesn't affect anyone. Only you take the risk of calculating an incorrect ledger. Bitcoin Core, X and XT don't support the third option today, but adding a switch to enable it would be easy if anyone wanted that. So the third option was explicitly decide to trust any spend of the scripts you don't understand. That'd be a bit foolish. And you might do this if uptime on your node is more important to you than correct audit results, which it never should be. Jeepers. My point, knowledge is power. When you know the rules have changed, you can use the information to make better decisions. With a soft fork, you don't know the rules have changed and are flying blind. Alright, that's the key point there then. With a soft fork, you don't know the rules have changed and you're flying blind. Right, that's the clincher then. That's basically what I was looking for in this article. On optionality, recentbitcoin.org adopted a new policy. It says contentious hard forks are bad for Bitcoin. Well, not necessarily, as he's just said there. At the very best, a contentious hard fork will leave people who choose the losing side of the fork feeling disenfranchised. At very worst, it will make Bitcoin permanently lose their value. This is a very curious statement because it implies that it's impossible to change Bitcoin without causing disenfranchisement. But this isn't how money works. Money is inherently a social tool, and to use a currency is to accept its rules, even if you don't like them. You can't use the dollar whilst opting out of a quantitative easing. Yeah, that's true. Even if this were technically possible, maybe you are a large bank, you're going to start receiving eased dollars instead of real dollars in payment sooner or later and arguing with your customers. This is a quick route to commercial death. Alright, so I kind of see what he means. Any change to Bitcoin that is accepted by the majority inherently disenfranchises the people who didn't want that change. This has nothing to do with hard or soft forks, regardless of which technique is used. If transactions using the new rule set start to enter widespread circulation, then sooner or later you will receive coins in payment that trace back to a new rule transaction. And then you have two choices. You can verify the new rule or you can not verify it, but the only thing not verifying does is reduce your own security. It's cutting off your own nose to spite your face. So in practice, everyone always upgrades. To disagree with a soft fork that is adopted by the majority is no different than disagreeing with a hard fork. If you don't like the new rules, tough cookies, that's trade. We can see proof of this in P2SH itself. The competing proposal had some minor and developer support, but in the end, everyone accepted the version we have today. They had no choice in the matter, or rather they chose to accept the change and continue using Bitcoin. It being a soft fork made no difference. So the idea that hard forks versus soft forks is some epic struggle for personal right over oppression just doesn't make any technical sense. The distinction is not just wrong, it's completely irrelevant. Forks for miners and merchants. This article is a bit long, so I'll keep this section short. If you're a miner or a merchant, you should prefer changes to be made via hard forks. Here's why. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, a hard forks means that everybody knows what's going on, whereas a soft fork means that you don't. Basically, he's just explained that. Okay, miners. Can hard forks destroy Bitcoin? No. Well, yeah, no, because everybody agrees with it. If it were the case, then literally anyone could kill Bitcoin by just mining a block or two with different rules. The entire purpose of the blockchain algorithm is to ensure that this cannot do any damage. The idea that contentious hard forks could cause Bitcoin to permanently lose their value appears in the Bitcoin.org policy, but it's actually the other way round. To demand that any change must have 100% agreement or 99%, at least one Bitcoin core developer wants, just means anyone can hold the entire community to ransom by refusing to agree unless they get what they want. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You can't have anybody just saying, oh, I don't agree with this, and then preventing everyone from doing it. They have to go along with it. No actual piece of infrastructure works this way. If Bitcoin did, it could never evolve and eventually would become worthless. All right, so maybe Elon Musk has been reading that. Yeah, gonna be really exciting, I think. So let's go to my favourite part of the show and start watching a few videos, because I saw some cracking ones today. So we'll leave it here for the YouTube trailer. Let's have a quick look, because the telltale is where it is at the moment. Just quickly figure the look. Transactions 41.6. But again, we've noticed that the transactions on whatever this D app is don't appear to be showing. So if we're looking at the charts here, and again, I think this D app is related to Router SV. I mean, look at this. So it started on the 14th, about 14th of February, which is there, where it did like it done 100,000 transactions, and now a week later, so 4.2 million, 4.2 million. So 4.1 million transactions in 7 days. You know, but it's not. The transaction volume doesn't seem to be showing on CoinDance. Again, I don't know why, whether they're like transaction banking or something like that. Again, like, you know, I'm more of a fundamentals guy. Technicals is still relatively new to me. But we're just looking at the stats on the scaling test network. Again, I don't quite know what this means. Average transactions per second last 24 hours at -13. Like, what? What's that? But look, they've done. It says highest transaction volume. That's gone up. So initially that was 9,000. Now they're saying it's 10,000 transactions per second on the scaling test network. So that's a number that's changed. Yeah. So again, just watching this space, seeing what's happened. Let's see who's mining what. Hathor, Tal, Hathor. Norpool, Mempool. Hathor, absolutely smashing it. No sign of Huobi on there. No sign of Huobi at all. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Usual graphs we usually look at. Just scroll straight past those. Hash rate. Oh, seriously? God damn it. Right, so hash rate 24. Global hash rate 24 hours. BTC.com up there. Core coin hash rate, Binance and F2 Pool pooling on there. B Crash, Hathor still on there, keeping profitability at bay. Whoa, look at this though. Look at this. So Tau with 60% of the hash rate on Bitcoin. However, the Tau hash rate is still relatively the same. That's been unaffected, but Huobi literally nowhere. Absolutely nowhere to be seen. You know, so I mean, via BTC is still on there, just hedging their bets, maybe. A little bit of BTC.com, but Huobi completely off the chain. And again, this is what Hathor did to Binance. You know, threw them off the chain completely. So something's coming, people. Something is coming. Something big. If you ask me, whether or not this happens on Wednesday, who knows? But watch this space. Is what I would say on that one. So yeah, we'll leave this fork up. I might even do like a breaking news flash and stuff. But if anybody would like to, you know, I mean, if you hear any topics or spot anything in my shows that you think you could do like a little snippet on, start developing your own following or anything like that. You know, any ideas that you think could help out newbies. You know, just give it a go. You never know unless you give it a go. Just, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. Even if it turns out to be a massive mistake, your best lessons in life are often learnt from your biggest mistakes, as a lot of these shitcoiners are gonna find out real soon. Real soon. Right, jeepers. Yeah, I'm almost like a little bit scared for them, really. But who knows what it is. So, handles and paymails in the chat box, peeps. Shout out to everybody that's in there. I have been watching while I've been reading, even though I'm not very good at multitasking. So starting from the top, good chatting there, peeps. J Paps was in there first. Jim Soccer, KP Dad, Neezy, Shelly Mack, Sylvain Coutier, great stuff. Richard Leach, Richie Rich, Reformed Too Many Coiner, Maria Torvad, excellent. Okay, right. Any questions and stuff, please feel free to put them in there while I get these dongs dinged out. So we'll start from the bottom with Neezy. Here we go. Swiping to send on the way to you. There we go. Caught that volume nicely. Next one is Shelly Mac. This one's for you. There we go. Got it. Swiping to send on the way. And Sylvain Coutier, SC19, a nice easy one. Here we go, SC19, got it. Swiping to send on the way to you. Here we go. Excellent. It's a Reform Too Many Coiner. A long message there. Nice one. I'm just going to finish these dongs. Maria Torvad, she's in my contacts. There we go. Dinging the dong on the way to you, Maria. Thank you very much. Richie Rich, this one's for you. Here we go. RICH. Great handle, that one. Richie Rich. There we go. Swiping to send on the way. KP Dad, 72. On the way to you. There we go. KP Dads. Swiping to send on the way. J Paps. Coming towards the top now, here we go. JP, that comes up nicely. Swiping to send on the way. Get it, excellent. Rich says, do you want the interview with Kurt? Cool. Richie Rich. So what's this? Reform Too Many Corners says, hi Maria Torvan and Sylvian Smoke. By the way, Tor is a former private intel contractor, whistleblower behind documentary Shadowgate against Brennan Gina Haspel et al., who she interacted with face-to-face in London, and MIC money grubbing, Warren Goering, generals, Hayden and others also, and others. Is Elon also good? Not sure about him. As am about Tor. Any connection though? Don't know. Enough exocentrism. Esocentricism. Gotta go. Study up on 24 numerology. Great show. Cheers. Alright, nice one. Any questions in there, Shelly Mac? Just let me know. I'll scroll through the messages just quickly. Yeah, no, okay, that'll do. All right, I might do now that I found that little clip in the Bitcoin fork, I might go and do a news flash and then perfect my introduction channel video. So yeah, that'll do for today, folks. So hope you enjoyed the show, and as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, joy given. Same time tomorrow. Catch you guys later. Get your tweet etched on Twitch, forever on the Bitcoin blockchain. Do it today at www.jointwitch.com. BuyBSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online. Get paid for your content in Bitcoin and watch the full episode on Streamality for just 20 cents. Go to www.satoshi.tv. See the link in the description below. Bitcoin, one world, one chain.
Yeah! One vision.